You're watching Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel, ThePapare, and today we are here to have a chat with an incredible player who's made a real deep mark in the Sri Lankan rugby folklore. Without further ado, Tarinda, warm welcome to you to have a chat. And we are here chatting to Tarinda Ratwatte because of his decision of hanging up his boots. Some say it's premature. Some say he should have played a couple of more seasons, but we are going to chat to Tarinda and find out the reasons why he decided to hang up his boots, and also to try and take a journey through his rugby career, which had given a lot of joy to all Sri Lankan rugby fans while he played. Tarinda, again, welcome to the chat, and and the first question, why so early?
So, it was a very well thought out decision, I would say. Not that I woke up one day and was like, I'm giving up. It's something that I really had to take a step back and think about. And the decision was, I wanted to focus on my law career since I have been neglecting it for the last couple of years. I mean, I managed to qualify myself in 2022, and I was not able to focus on that. And straight after Sri Lanka tournament that we had earlier on this year, I went straight to work, put myself in the deep end, and I started really loving my work. And then also in the course of that, my wife and I are expecting a baby as well. So everything kind of felt right. The timing felt right to enter a new chapter of my life, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've had a great run and I have no regrets whatsoever. So with all those things going in my head, I thought this was the right time to step away.
Well, congratulations, Tari, and brilliant news for Sri Lankan rugby. Another Ratwatte coming through.
What makes you so sure it's a boy?
Why can't a Ratwatte girl play for Sri Lanka? I mean, chances are that we will have a very good female team as well. But anyway, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tari, there was speculation though, because for while you said this is very thought out and it was pre-planned, there was speculation it was because of the fact that you had a disagreement regarding the captaincy at Kandy Sports Club that you were giving up. I think it's a good platform to try and clear that out. Was there any expectation from you for the captaincy at Kandy Sports Club, or because being the national captain, just maybe you were expecting that?
Absolutely not. Tarinda Chaturanga's announcement as captain was made way before even I was Sri Lanka captain. So I knew that Ahali, as he's known to us. I mean, I had no disagreement, nothing of the sort, and I take this opportunity to wish him all the best. Unfortunately, I can't be there with him because I have taken this next step in my life. But there is nothing like that. It had nothing to do with him being captain, and I play the game because I love the game, not because of any expectation. Whatever that has been bestowed upon me in terms of any kind of leadership has come with me trying to be the best player I could be, and everything and all these appointments are a result of the hard work that I have put in, and the coaches trusting me to be better and take up that responsibility. But as far as expectations, I had none, and just to play the game was enough for me.
Well, very interesting thoughts from Tarinda Ratwatte, and if there are any speculations, you can really put that to bed, because like Tarinda mentioned, I believe Tarinda Chaturanga, so Ahali as is fondly known, was made the captain, and that decision was made some time ago.
Yes.
And there is a certain process that Kandy follows appointing the captains as well.
Yes.
as much as I know, because it's according to your seniority of playing for that club, and it has been for the past maybe 20-30 years. So,
and also I have to add, I mean, Ali has 12 of I think 13 years at the club, and he has really worked hard to get to the position that he is, and there's no one more deserving than Ali, and that's I mean, I would, if I was still playing, I would give my heart and soul for him, and make sure that he is remembered as a great captain of Kandy, and that's all I wish for him this year. And he thoroughly deserves the appointment. There's no doubt about it.
Well, brilliant. And but now what we'll do is we'll rewind back to the early years of Tarinda Ratwatte. Tari, you grew up in a family where you couldn't escape rugby, really, because there would have been a certain expectation growing up as Ashan Ratwatte's son that you were destined to take on the game of rugby. However, interesting for me as well, because personally for me it's a full circle moment here, because I remember 2005, Trinity College did have something called the Elite Squad, where they would have the first 15ers training with all age groups up until under 12, and there is this new boy who landed up in college, grade 6 I believe.
Yes.
And who did stand above the rest because he had all the skills but didn't come from a traditional rugby playing school. Take me through that journey.
So first off, like you said, I am from a rugby playing family. My dad played for Trinity, played for Kandy Sports Club and SIA, and also played for Sri Lanka. All my uncles played rugby for Trinity and went on to play. When they became planters, they played for the upcountry clubs. And then their friends, so everything was about rugby. And all I grew up hearing were these awesome, magnificent stories of all what my uncles and my dad and their stories. My grandfather also played, so like it was just everything was about. I was hearing all this, legacy and like these great stories. And for me, all I wanted to do was be a little notch in that little story, and that was what I really wanted to do. So it happened that in 2006 that I decided to join Trinity. I feel like it was my decision, but I think now
when you look back
when I look back on it and reflect, I think my dad kind of conditioned me to kind of make that jump. My mom had a bit of a hard time dealing with it, but I was fortunate enough. My grandparents on both sides lived in Kandy, and I had a home there, so they pretty much took me in and gave me the opportunity to do and be a part of that legacy that I was saying.
How was it difficult moving from Colombo to Kandy and adapting to the life in Kandy, or was it not so difficult because your roots, like you said, you have a grandparent, both your grandparents being in Kandy and your roots being in Kandy?
I wouldn't say moving from Colombo to Kandy was much of a. As a kid, you adapt pretty fast in terms of where you live, but I think the biggest shock came when actually going to Trinity, because before I went to Trinity, I was at British school for a year and a half. Before that, we were in Vietnam because my dad got a placement there. So I came from I was from an international school where everything was pretty rosy, and like if you were pretty athletic and stuff when you were young, you were able to excel in that, and then you would how I would put it was, I was quite a confident kid before joining Trinity, and when I came to Trinity, I was like, it was a full culture shock, because things that I was great at British school, I couldn't even make the team at Trinity. So like it was like a huge thing, and it took a big toll on like my confidence as well, because when you're used to being so good at something and then you're not even being able to like get selected for your class relay in the sports meet, it's like, what happened here? Why am I not so good? So that was a bit of a shock, and also adapting to Trinity obviously has a bigger student base than British school from various walks of life, various backgrounds. That itself also humbled me in how I handle or how I deal with interactions with people. And as a kid, initially it was quite daunting, but the fact that I had to really work hard to get to where I ended up, I think that's where the drive and the determination, the resilience, no matter what happened at college, I was able to work through it. So I think more than really moving from Colombo to Kandy, just the just the shock behind, coming from an international school and then coming to a local school, I think that was the biggest adjustment that was the biggest adjustment I had to make.
Right, Tarinda Ratwatte did really excel at Trinity College, going on to become the first 15 skipper in 2014 and also the head prefect of the year as well. I mean, while you excelled at college, not only in rugby but in extracurricular activities as well, how much of pressure of being Asan Ratwatte's son and that expectation weigh you down? And did it weigh you down, or did you not realize it while in school?
So, like I was saying, because of the whole adjustment that I had to make, in coming from being quite athletic and previously, and then coming to be literally a nobody at college when I started out, it built I wanted to prove myself, and I held my dad as my goal, my goal post, and that's who I chased. And my whole point of view was I wanted to somehow be better than him. That was the target, and I today will always say, from all the stories I heard, he's definitely the better player. He may disagree with me, but I of course feel he's far more instinctual and far more talented than I will ever be. But there was no pressure because I took it upon myself to be better. That was my target. So to also balance the sporting side, my mom and my maternal grandparents really helped me kind of find the balance between excelling in sport and also being able to do well in your studies. Not that I was a A-star student, but I managed to balance both and find the right path so that I can do both at the same time, which I suppose ultimately led me to be the head prefect as well at that time.
Well, for the benefit of some of the youngsters who are watching this episode as well, I mean, a lot of the times there is a preconceived notion that when you are talented in a sport, you lag behind when it comes to studies. Whereas when you excel in a sport, it gives you a lot of qualities that you can apply to your studies as well.
Yes.
Do tell us how that helped out and how important transferring what you learn in the field to the classroom.
I mean, you just said it. It's just about prioritizing, and obviously, when you're young, you're going to get carried away in the sports side because it's the fun thing to do. And I had a lot of help from my family to always make sure that I shift my focus from sport and the study side. So you can't do it without help, for sure. But it's all about compartmentalizing, organizing yourself, really focusing on what you want to achieve out of it. I mean, no matter how many people want you to be something, if you don't want to achieve it, it's not going to play out. So you have to have a vision for yourself, where you see yourself in the end of the year, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? That's how I thought at that time. So that was what I was working myself to become.
Right, so that's Tarinda, the serious one at college, but Tarinda Ratwatte, the rugby player at Trinity College, had enjoyed a very, very rare feat of being able to be part of 4 Bradby winning outfits, and that's not many Trinitians can boast about that. That was an absolute purple patch for Trinity as well. Tarinda, just a couple of years ago, was a very relieved man when the tag of being the last Bradby winning captain was taken away from him. He was overjoyed. But Tari, tell us about those 4 years that you represented first 15 and that journey of you becoming Trinity captain under the guidance of Neil Footy, who you, I believe, consider a big influence in your rugby career.
I mean, I was very fortunate, and my team, there were I think 6 seniors in my captaincy here that were fortunate enough to have an exceptional bunch of senior players when we joined. From the likes of Murad Ramzeen, Sean Foster, Rehan Veerakorn, and others, that really one thing is welcomed us into the team, which I think most juniors, not only in Trinity but excuse me, all over schools, I think don't have that luxury, where your seniors are really, really welcoming, and we felt like they are brothers.
Right.
And that bond that we have, and that love we have for them is still there. Like it's it was a brotherhood, it was a family, and that's something that has to be credited to Neil Footy, which is what he understood about Trinity. We play with a lot of emotion, and we need that extra, how would I say it, oomph, where we want to put our hearts on the line, our bodies on the line, to perform really well, and then the results speak for itself. Once you get a purpose and a Y factor to playing, then the sky is the limit.
Well, interesting that you made that. Tarinda made his debut in the Trinity First 15 jersey in 2011. That's under the captaincy of Murad Ramsin, and that year is remembered as the Reed Avenue Massacre, where Trinity lost the first leg in Bogambara, came back to Colombo and really wiped the floor and won the Bradby, and that was the highest deficit that Trinity has ever come over, 8-point deficit.
Yeah, eight.
Tell me what went through that, because it's not every day that we have a player who was part and parcel of that process. And when you explain the welcome and also the attitudes of most of the seniors there, it makes sense why that team gelled into the second leg. But take us through the process.
So I don't know whether it was fortunate or unfortunate, but I won my jersey straight after we lost the first leg. So I came into an environment where everybody was like fully kind of down, and we were in a bit of we didn't know what to do kind of. But the beauty of it was our coach at the time, Neil Footy, was he didn't let us feel the pressure that was coming from the outside. So it was more of an inbuilt pressure from the boys and the team itself. And then after we lost the first leg, the week I won my jersey was against Isipatana, and we lost that too. So it was like a double whammy. So we were like really wondering what's going to happen. And then we went into a camp for about 4 days, if I remember correctly, for the second leg as a build-up, and we hardly practiced. What Neil Footy really understood was that it was not a skill or a game plan issue. It was just we had to kind of forget what had happened the last 2 weeks, enjoy our time together as a team. So we did some like awesome stuff. We did a hike. We went to I can't remember what the waterfall was, but we basically went on a hike along a river to find a waterfall. We never found the waterfall. I mean, to date, that's something. Whenever the team gets together, this is what we talk about, like the stories in between, that how some of us got lost and found our way back, and we were so happy to find everybody. That it was just a wonderful week of just camaraderie, brotherhood, and there was also a little bit of training as well, obviously, but that is what we remember mostly and most fondly. Just the memory of just being together and having a good time. We played cricket. So it was just Neil Footy understood that we had to kind of de-stress and just go back to enjoy the game. And then when we went to Colombo, it was very emotional, because now we were all now ready to play. And then Neil Footy had this thing that later on became a tradition, where before the Bradby, he would name all the players that would be playing their last Bradby, and he asked them to stand up before he gives the jerseys. And it's so emotional that you suddenly remember, oh, these guys will never play another Bradby. So then we're all crying, we get all emotional, we're like, lots of tears, and then we're like, oh my God, pumped. And then that's before we even get to the grounds. And then when we get to the grounds after our warm-up, where we put our jerseys on, we walk out, and here he is doing his family Haka for us. in the tunnel. And that again, like, that's like another emotional moment. All of us are like, you don't know what, like, one thing, we have never faced a Haka, we are now emotional. Our coach, who is like our father figure, they are doing it, with bringing his culture to us. Then like the result was just, we had already won from there. So that whole experience was such a surreal moment, and that was, I basically, that was my first game I was starting. So to be a part of that whole thing, and was just an amazing thing.
Well, after that amazing experience in 2011, Tarinda Ratwatte goes on to win 4 Bradbys, unbeaten in the Bradbys. However, interesting that you mentioned about Neil Footy doing the Haka in the tunnel. Tarinda, your year, Trinity decided to adopt a Haka. I think there is
1 year before.
Beg your pardon. In 2013, yeah. Trinity decided to adopt the Haka, and there is a lot of emotions, a lot of criticism on that. But being part of a team who decided to do that, and there is a lot that a lot of people didn't know. They thought that it was a poor imitation of the All Blacks Haka, which it was not. So I think you will do justice to the lot, and also to what you wanted to do there by explaining it to a lot of people. What was that?
So to give everybody some context, Neil Footy is from New Zealand, and he, being a big part and a big influence throughout that time, not only with the rugby team, he was a big influence in college itself. And he decided to go back to New Zealand and ask a chief from a Maori village from his Maori village to basically, with our Trinity College history and what we stand for and our belief system and traditions and values, create a Haka for Trinity itself. So it had a very, very special and deep meaning, which was very specific to college. And we had practiced the Haka for about 2 weeks, and we were still not too sure whether we were going to do it or not at the second leg. So we last minute decided, okay, let's go ahead with it. And that's the result that we got. And we have anyone who did the Haka, a part of the Trinity College team in 2013. I mean, me personally as well, I don't kind of blame or criticize the Royal team for doing what they did. They would have been like, what is going on here? And then they would have the only rest.
It's a Bradby after all. You're not going to stand and take whatever is thrown at you. Home ground.
Home ground. And they were trailing at that time. They had beaten them in Pallakele the week before. Now these guys are coming to our home ground and doing something like this. So they reacted with at that time, emotions are high. So I don't really, and I mean, to date we still see videos. It's still kind of a Bradby moment, I would say. But so that's the story behind the Haka of 2013.
Well, from that was a very interesting moment to be part of as well, because there was a lot of emotions running through different people. But then it was nice to see that the boys who did want to adopt that Haka had really rehearsed, and they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the meaning behind it as well. And I think a large audience is getting to know what was behind it. But
I also have to say that the Royalists came the very next day from Colombo, and the principal and the captain and vice captain at the time, they came to college and apologized to the principal, and there was a lot of I think because they got so much of backlash, they owned up to the mistake. They came and they apologized, and that was that. It was never talked of again.
Absolutely. And it's what the Bradby is in it,
exactly,
fierce of rivalries, but some of your best friends to date are the Royalists that you played against. So,
of course.
Tari, 2014, so after college, you take on club rugby, and you have the distinction of having played for the two most premier clubs in the country. Started off here in the capital, wearing the red jersey. Talk us through your journey with the Reds, Sierra FC.
So I actually, before joining SIA, I had the opportunity to go to New Zealand straight out of school to play some rugby there, and you know that door was open because of Niranjan Ranasinghe. He's a huge factor in the player that I am. No one really knows too much about it, but he actually, when I was in Trinity in 2012, I went and stayed with him. His wife and he, who were my age at the time, welcomed me into their home, kept me there, and I was like a 16-year-old kid. And he, trained me, opened the doors to New Zealand rugby. I had the privilege at that time to work with one of the current All Blacks coaches, Scotty Hansen, who was also a big coach at the time in Canterbury, in Christchurch, which is where I went. He himself is a Sri Lanka player, played for Kandy for I think almost a decade as well. Yep. Also Trinitian, also a Rugby winner. So
I believe he played in the year 2000 under David Lucha, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he played at 2000, 2001 or 99, 2000, if I'm not mistaken. That time. So that again, a lot of common factors. And that was my start to New Zealand. Then he gave me the opportunity to play straight out of school for a club that he was coaching in New Zealand, in Auckland this time, called College Rifles. I played for the under 21 side an entire season. And then later on went back again to train with him in 2018. And then went again in 2024 to play for a club as well, because all that is because of him. And his intellect, his knowledge of the game really helped me see it differently, see the game differently, and he's a huge, his contribution to my game is, I can't even put it to words. So that was just before I joined club, and that really opened my eyes to how club rugby should be approached. So when I went to New Zealand, it's amateur rugby there. So everything is just people coming on their free time to play competitive rugby. So they approached it really fun and like light. One of the biggest culture shocks for me was we were playing a game and we were losing, and our starting center left at halftime because his wife, his sister was coming from another state or something, and he had to go pick her up from the airport. Right. So I was like, what? We take things so seriously here that sometimes it's good to kind of look at it in such a light-hearted manner,
And remember to enjoy the game.
Exactly. This is a game that we play because we enjoy it, which I think a lot of spectators and players kind of forget, and they kind of the line is a little blurred there, so everything is so serious and so whereas rugby is a social game after all, no? So so that was a big kind of shock to me, and then that's something that I took into club rugby when I came. Right. And I tried to approach the game in a very fun attitude. So when I came into SIA that following year, I had a wonderful time because I was young, just out of school. There was no, as you just come out of school, there's so much things you can do now. You're a little bit more independent. Yeah. Then I started also uni at Royal Institute to do my LLB to become a lawyer. So everything was a lot more fun at that time. So I would actually describe my time at SIA as a very fun and youthful, I would say, because I was also young. I was 21 to 23 my time at SIA, so it was a very nice time.
Very interestingly, coming off from college, like you mentioned, you join one of the most premier clubs in the country with a very young set of players as well.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a particular year that you were offered the captaincy of CR. You were to be appointed the captaincy of CR, given the captaincy of CR, but then you declined because of the fact that you were focusing on your studies. You wanted to still be part of the playing unit, but didn't want to captain. Is this right and factual, or is it something that has been spun around or speculative?
No, so that is true in the sense that so I had played 2 years for CR at the time, and we had at that time CR was always, had ups and downs in that during the league. We had some great wins and then some really bad losses, and it was an up and down season. And the CR committee approached me the next season and asked whether I would like to captain, or they would like me to captain the side, and I immediately said no, because at the time I was still sitting my exams, and not many people know this, but I decided myself to forego a few Sri Lanka tours as well, because they were conflicting or clashing with my exam schedule, and my theory was the sooner I get qualified, the freer I will be to play. So I made sure I didn't neglect my education and my qualifying myself to being a lawyer. So that was my main focus, and the rugby side was a really good side gig at the time. So I respectfully declined, and then they appointed Kavindu, who was also, I think, the rightful choice, because he was representing Sri Lanka at the time, sevens, and he was a fresh mind, and he went on to captain for 2 years, and I said, okay, I will help him by becoming the vice captain. So that was the situation at CR at that time. Yeah.
Well, now from CR and FC, you move into the Hill Capital, effectively go back home, and when you go to Kandy Sports Club, because of the success that they've seen the past 2 decades, there is a massive expectation that comes at you from the fans, from the club, from everybody involved. But what's really very distinctive about Kandy Sports Club from a lot of the players that I've spoken to, hung out with, is the love that you receive from your fans. Tell me the difference moving to Kandy, where you suddenly become an absolute superstar in the city.
So the shift from CR to Kandy was, I think, as far as my rugby career is concerned, the best move that I could have made. And the time it happened, I think, also was the best time. Again, walking into Kandy is quite intimidating, because you're surrounded by so many, or basically more than 50% of the Sri Lanka squad, and you're just surrounded by a professional outfit. Everybody is aligned with one goal, which is winning the league. Not just the players and the coaches, but from the security guard, the ball boy, the people in the bar, everybody is that same mindset. And that sort of professionalism was, at the time, we didn't see it at CR, unfortunately, which is what I think they later on they brought in, which is why they are so successful right now. So for us guys who joined that year, we were just like amazed, like, man, is this how a rugby club is supposed to function? So that was in itself like, wow, I don't have to worry about anything. I just have to focus on getting my body right and my mental state right and performing well. So that was a really good platform for us players to kind of step into. And then also the fact that you are not pressured to perform at the highest level every game, because you're going to have a dip once in a way. So that pressure, that release of pressure in itself was rewarding. Like you were able to perform to the best because you didn't have that extra pressure of that you have to perform, or if you don't play well, the team doesn't, because
Right.
in Kandy it's not like that. If you are having a small slight dip
There
or
were
a
other
bad
game
game,
changers who were
Exactly.
taking the mantle. Yeah.
but then it ignites a different fire in you. You want to be that game changer. You do not want to be like, okay, I'm just going to play and then somebody else. So you're always either competing with somebody, healthy competition, or competing with somebody, to make sure that you're still getting the starting spot, or making sure that you are staying on top of your game. So all those attributes really contributed to all of us at that time, really being better players and getting better every day we train.
Well, and also, Tari, I believe at Kandy, you did play in couple of positions. So there is a massive debate on what the best position for you is amongst the public. What is your pet position, and what number do you love wearing? I know you don't mind any of the positions that you play in, as long as you are in the field.
I do have a preference.
Yeah.
I do have a preference.
What is your preference?
12 for sure.
12. Okay.
I mean, I've always been a fly half from my college days. Funnily enough, my first position I played was 12.
Right.
And I think I'm happy to say I retired at 12 as well. But I think there's a debate whether I am a fly half or a center. I think I'm able to play both. I enjoy playing 12.
Right.
Because I see the game it's a lot more time, because I am the second receiver. So
Right.
I do not have to really worry about what's going on here, where the ruck is or the scrum or whatever. I'm always looking at the other side. So, and then I feed that what I see to whoever is playing number 10. So the nice part is that because I played fly half majority of my life, I know what helps. What helped.
What information helps?
What would I have liked my outside backs to do for me when I was playing that position? So I always tried to make it a point to pass on any information, help the fly halves I was playing with, to help them not have to worry about what's happening after me.
Right.
So that is something I think a lot of outside backs have to develop in Sri Lanka, where they really have to start vocalizing and communicating what they see, where the space is. Because as a fly half, you are really worried about controlling the game. You have to make sure you're talking to the forwards, you have to make sure you're talking to the backs, you have to scan and see whether you can kick or pass or run. So there's a lot of things happening with that number 10 position. So whatever help we can send as outside backs to the 10 to help him and make his life easier, that's our role. Right. And that's something that's not taught a lot, I feel, in Sri Lanka. That communication and that level of understanding of the game enhances the team eventually. So I think that's to answer your question again. I think I was rambling on a little bit, but to answer your question, hands down I prefer playing 12, but most people would say I'm a better 10. So yeah.
Well, that's a debate that will go on, but yeah, we know the preference, and I wouldn't say rambling. There was a lot that any young rugby player could take from what you mentioned, Tari. And okay, so now Kandy Sports Club, you won a plethora of games, multiple championships, been part of many unbeaten sides as well. I'm going to put you in deep trouble. Pick the best captain that you've played under at Kandy Sports Club.
Ooh, I played under 4. Nigel twice, Damit, Lavanga and Suri. Ooh, the best captain.
Or I'll make it a little
that's
easier.
Tough. I can't say.
Not maybe the best captain, but the captain that you enjoyed the most under.
I think I enjoyed my entire time at Kandy. I enjoyed playing. So the two standouts for me, I would say, from that stint would be one Nigel and the other Suri, for completely two different reasons.
Right.
Again, not that I am having favorites or whatever, but Nigel, because he always had the approach to his game, and what he always told us is to enjoy the game. So he always pushed for us as a team to enjoy what we were doing without making it a chore or something that we didn't end up liking. So that I really like that approach to the game, and sometimes you need someone to remind you
that you need to enjoy.
You need to enjoy the game, because like I said before, we get caught up in so many other unwanted emotions, like, you know, okay, what are people going to say, what my coach is going to say, you know, all those things you get in your head. But and then you need someone from who says, you know, guys, just calm down, let's just have fun. And once the enjoyment comes, the winning also becomes more fun. Suri, on the other hand, was a completely different captain. He took over after we had lost that season, the previous season.
And it's always difficult when you are in a setup where you are used to winning.
Exactly.
To try and
to come back. So we actually had to go back to the drawing board and, you know, really figure out what went wrong that season.
Right.
And that's the hardest part. You know, to that the year Suri captain, we had a lot of pre-planning, really sitting down and identifying, okay, this is what went wrong, what do we need to fix, identify certain things that we need to develop, whether we need to, you know, focus on particular positions or game plans or overall fitness, whatever the case may be. So we were coming off that backdrop. So Suri, what I really also being a little bit more mature now, I really like seeing, or I learned a lot from him of how he galvanized all the players. You know, how he, you know, without being a forceful captain and being authoritative, how he used little subtle techniques. You know, he identified certain players that, you know, needed an arm on the shoulder and be like, it's okay, you know, this is what you need to do. Then he also identified people who really need a kick up their butt. And how he just managed all of us as players. You had that, like, I had that confidence. At one point I felt like I was underperforming, and, you know, I was feeling a little bit of pressure, like, you know, what am I doing? And, you know, last season was so different. This season is like, you know, I feel like, and he gave me such good advice and really helped me perform. You know, the next game, his advice really helped me play better the next game. So for me, that was, I think, the difference, that, you know, coming from a losing season the previous year to winning the trophy back, being unbeaten again, and how he went about it was, for me, mind-blowing. And, you know, he's himself such a fantastic player, and so, I mean, those two for sure stood out for me.
Well, I think I will not do justice if I don't try and pick the brains of Tari about how he feels and the love he received from the most vocal and easily the most passionate club rugby fans in the island. How was that relationship? How does that relationship transfer into your emotions and your passion when it comes to the Kandy fans?
So actually, someone the other day asked me this question, when I was playing for Sia, where did I love playing? What was my favorite game to play? And I hands down said Kandy, because I think I was lucky to, one thing, be in the middle of the pitch and avoid not hear most of the comments on the sidelines, whereas I think our in three quarters and fullbacks got a earful.
Yeah.
But somehow I felt the Kandy fans had a bit of a soft spot for me, and they were not too angry with me. So I was kind of sheltered.
I guess they were expecting you to make the move.
Or it's just me being wishful.
Right.
So when I moved to Kandy, Kandy did I think the year I joined, Kandy Sports Club did a wonderful thing where they had a fan day before the season, where they invited all the fans for a day of meet and greet with the Kandy players.
Okay.
And then they introduced the new faces.
Right.
So from the outset itself, you felt the love, felt the admiration. So it was like actually a really wonderful thing that they did for us as players, the club, and it also got us to feel the actual love that, you know, the fans have for the club and the players. Having said that, there's a lot of pressure too, because these guys will, if you see them on the street or something, they'll make a comment saying, "Oh, you know, are you playing? You didn't play well that game, or why didn't you kick?" So
there was no filter.
Yeah, there was no filter, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, they're always that's the support that Kandy players have, and you know, they are fortunate enough to represent that club. I always have this thing where, you know, we are just custodians of the jersey, and you know, we play for something bigger than just ourselves. Our responsibility as players is to make sure that we put on a show for these people who come to watch us playing the hard-earned money, you know, for 80 minutes of happiness. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we put a smile on their faces and give them the happiness that they have come to receive. So as much as it is a big responsibility and there's a lot of pressure, I mean, that's what we play for. That's why we turn up every week, and we train so hard to be able to perform at the highest level, to give them something they can tell their kids, or you know, their friends or whatever. So that's a responsibility we bear as rugby players.
Well, very, very fascinating, interesting thoughts, and I'm sure many of the players who've been part of Kandy outfits, resonate with what Tarinda says, because that city is rugby mad, and the fans there are really, really rugby mad, and it's no secret the admiration that they have for the game. Tari, from club rugby, you make your debut in the Sri Lankan outfit in the shorter format of the game, playing sevens rugby. Which year did you make your
2016.
debut? 2016. And in the from then to now, Sri Lanka have had many lows and not too many highs due to different factors. However, 28th of July 2022, Birmingham Commonwealth Games is a moment a lot of us really cherish. I was supremely lucky to be in that stadium in Coventry when you did manage to score against the New Zealand Sevens. I mean, tell us, there might be many moments that you relish in that Tuskers jersey, but tell me about that moment, because us who were in that media tribune were in tears.
So at the moment, I didn't really realize how much it would what it would mean to everybody back home. That tour itself, I mean, there's a big backstory to that, for us going to that tournament as well. I mean, we were just coming out of the economic crisis, or actually still in it at the time. We were all coming on bicycles and walking for practice, not sure whether we'll be even going.
This was post-pandemic as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So there was not much rugby played in 2020, 2021. We had just restarted rugby with the Commanders Cup, I believe.
Yes.
Seventh tournament put together.
I think we had just managed to have a club season, I think.
Club season, yes.
So the backdrop of that, we had a really good squad, I would say, a fantastic squad, experience, youth, everything. That whole experience of, you know, us traveling on our bicycles, you know, really struggling to come for training was, I think, a build up to what actually ended up happening, because we went with the attitude of, okay, we've done so much of hard work, we suffered through this. Now it's just to go out there and have some fun. And we went with no expectation. And I don't think anybody expected anything from us either, given the situation that we were in.
And the competition that you were going to take part in. Yeah.
I mean, our first game was against the All Blacks. So it was something the boys, and even Nilufer Ibrahim, the coach at the time, he was like, and he also had a lovely demeanor and attitude about it, where he let us, you know, just be ourselves. He gave us the structure that we needed, but let us play freely. But that is also, I think, contributed to, we had such senior players in Srinath Surya Bandara, Nigel Ratwatte, Mithun Hapugoda, myself and Kavindu Pereira, we were all there.
Buddhima.
Yeah, sorry, and I think
Sudam
Kavindu couldn't make it
couldn't make it
because he got COVID just before
Yeah.
the flight.
Yeah.
So we had 12 players going, but only 10 went the date we were supposed to fly because 2 of our players got COVID.
Yeah.
So then 2 players had to come much later. So scoring the try against New Zealand, I didn't realize at the time, like I said, it was just like, oh, I scored, okay, managed to score on an international outfit in itself is a,
Yeah.
like a lucky event. So when I scored, I was like, wow, thank God, the bounce of the ball kind of came into my hand, sat on a platter. But yeah, it was a.
Well, to interrupt you, is that your favorite moment in a Tuskers jersey?
Actually, it's not my. It's one of the memorable ones. But my favorite and most surreal moments representing Sri Lanka was in 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games,
Right.
where we were part of the contingent and we were all wearing our blazers and trousers and shoes and everything, and we were walking around the stadium and walking in to like a packed athletic stadium, everybody wanting, like, there were little Australian kids wanting my autograph. For me in itself, I at that moment I was thinking to myself, and at that time I had already represented Sri Lanka for 3 years. So at that moment I realized that what a privileged position I am in to represent my country on probably the biggest stage in our region. To go out there and represent our country with pride, and it was a real eye-opening experience for me, and it really I got emotional at that point because I realized, like, wow, this is just they don't see a difference between me and the New Zealand players or Fiji or England. Everybody is the same. We are the best of the best in our countries, and we are coming to perform. So that would be actually the most memorable moments of representing Sri Lanka. Just a cementing factor that representing your country in whatever sport or whatever you do, whether it's even you represent Sri Lanka in debating or a speech or whatever, you hold 20 million people on your shoulders.
You represent
the entire them
nation.
And you become, whether you like it or not, you become a role model to so many people who are going to come after you. So you are responsible to make sure that you hold yourself in a proper manner. You walk a particular way, and it's a huge responsibility for a person who kicks the ball once in a day and runs around. But that is the pressure that comes with sport at that level, and you need to always be reminded of that. And sometimes I think people don't take that too seriously, but that is why you have the experienced players reminding you, and having that experience helps the younger guys understand what this whole thing is about.
Well, since Mr. Ratwatte has decided that he's not going to be in the dressing room, we at ThePapare are hoping that we will be able to borrow him quite a bit to try and impart this experience to our young and upcoming players. Tari, you mentioned a very, very interesting thing about these multi-sporting events, because unlike taking part or competing in Asian 7 Series, when you go into a multi-sporting event, when you are in the athletes village, you are exposed to effectively a large selection of players from around the world who have certain disciplines and certain professionalism about representing their country. How important is that to have that exposure to realize the bigger picture?
So I think we don't have to look at even at that level. I mean, players like Srinath Suryabandara, Nigel, Danushka Ranjan, all of them, they were fortunate enough. Back in, I think, 2010 to 2014, we had the Carlton Sevens, where they were literally rooming, eating 24/7 with basically the best players in the world. So, and they got the opportunity to see how they work, what they eat, what they put in their bodies, what time they go to sleep, how much water do they drink. Then that's just the outside. Then you have of them playing with them. What situations do you kick? Like certain things that they got exposed to at that time, which actually helped their careers for so long. And that is something that I think the younger generation that came after them were not fortunately not exposed to. Exactly. So that is something that we have. I think we have as a rugby community have to help give them that exposure. Either we bring the Carlton Sevens back or some sort of tournament back to give them that exposure. And at that time Sri Lanka rugby really flourished. We were I think top 4 on average during that stint. We were not afraid to take on these big names and big teams head on.
We were very close to winning Asian medal and lost the semi-final to Japan very, very, very closely.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah.
I was again fortunate to be a part of that team. Missed by a pass, but that was not the first time that ever happened.
Yeah.
It happened the previous Asian Games too.
Yeah.
So we are not so far behind. And even the 15s, I mean this year's 15s this qualifier tournament was a testament to how much talent and how far we have come. We definitely belong in that top tier in my point of view, but it doesn't, we have to stick to it. We have to keep representing or playing test match rugby on a regular basis so that when it comes to these big tournaments we are able to deliver.
I think we are very privileged to have Peiris insight on it, especially given the fact that he's someone who represented the country just a couple of months ago and very fresh off it to be very candidly sharing this and also for the betterment of the other players who are still in the mix. And Tari, now Sri Lanka, playing for Sri Lanka 7s and 15s, how important it is for Sri Lanka to still be competitive in the 15s aspect, because there is a notion with some people that Sri Lanka will only be able to make a mark in the 7s. However, Sri Lanka does not have a premier 7s competition. We have the club 7s, which happens one year, which doesn't happen another. Our main focus is on the 15s game domestically, and we are expected to perform well in the 7s game internationally. Doesn't match out. What is your thought process on that?
So I think as far as comparing the two formats, given the current situation, we are able to compete regularly in the shorter format in 7s. Because like I said, 15s, there is a lot more technical things that we have to catch up on.
And invest in.
Exactly. So I would say, not that again, like I said, we are not too far away.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can qualify at some point to the World Cup, I mean that's that's the dream, right? But to get there, there's a lot more investment, because as backs we are able to, we have the skill and the speed and the knowledge to compete with them. But it's where the forwards is where we really need to catch up in terms of weight, size, technical knowledge, like I said. Whereas 7s is a lot freer because less people, mostly backs, a little smarter than the forwards.
So he says.
No, I'm joking, but in the sense that because there's less people and more time actually just running more than breakdowns and set pieces, there's a lot less technical. I mean, there is definitely a level of technical stuff that you have to know, but it's less. Because again, it's only 14 minutes. So in that aspect, a future or short term, we can really excel if we really put our minds to it. We can excel in the 7s format, and I mean, like I said, we are like 1 or 2 games away from winning a medal.
Absolutely.
Only in the last couple of years we've kind of not been able to stay there, but that's where we are. We are top 4 in the Asian circuit. We have the means and we have the talent to do it. It's just a small push and a little bit of planning. the longer format will have a little bit more time and grooming and development that will have to take place before we can expect big results.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tari, what plans? I mean, we've had a terrific chat with you. I think a lot of the viewers will expect to see a bit more of you in front of the camera now that your job being in the middle of the field is done, because the insight that you have to give, I think, is going to be very important, and the knowledge that you've gathered, you've acquired with your travels to the New Zealand, and also being able to play there as well, is going to be very important. What plans for rugby after hanging up your boots? I know we know. Do tell us about your career in the legal fraternity as well. But what plans for you coming back to rugby in a different aspect,
way.
maybe?
So at the moment, I haven't really given too much thought about it. I'm going to start my vision for the future in terms of rugby is to help younger players develop rugby IQ, because I think that's something that has to be developed in the younger generations. So I am in the process of starting my own. I like to think of it as a private tuition for rugby players kind of thing, where I can help athletes, understand certain things, not just about skill wise, but just understanding certain things, also mentoring them, helping them understand the bigger picture, also helping them navigate through life. Always tell them, don't only think about rugby, because that's, I would say, my biggest thing would be balancing both rugby and life. So that's something I would like to give back to to rugby. I haven't really thought about anything else, to be honest, in terms of even joining you in the commentary box. But yeah, I mean, rugby is in my DNA. It's never going to go away. So you'll definitely see me hanging around somewhere. Can't keep the game away from me too long. But for now, I'm really diving into my legal career and trying to make a mark in that. I'm learning from the best in my firm at FJ&G Deserums as well. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really excited to starting my journey as a father soon. So looking forward to that for the moment.
Well, all the very best in your legal career, and also taking on a big responsibility of being a father, which is going to tire you out a little more than you expect, and
maybe I'll give you a call once.
all your conditioning in the rugby field is going to come in handy. And Tari, just before we wrap up, I think we've had a very fruitful chat. I think a lot of the people are going to really enjoy this one. Before we wrap up, I think I cannot resist asking you this question. Will you come out of retirement? Is there a possibility? Because a lot of people have hung up their boots, and there has been ways to convince them to come out. And is there a chance to see Tarinda Ratwatte back on the field?
So
will you completely shut the door on it?
I think it's yeah, I think so. In the sense that definitely from competitive rugby, in the sense of national and club, I'm still going to play mercantiles as much as I can. That will also help me stay involved in the game, stay fit also. But yeah, for me now in this next chapter is not to be thinking about how the calories and food and working out. For me, it's about now how I'm thinking about it is to enjoy rugby as a fan finally, and being able to enjoy the game in that aspect. And I'm not going to close the door on playing, but definitely competitive rugby in terms of national and club for sure. Because I mean, we also have to think that I'm an aging player. I've done my...
Well, at 30 years, I'd beg to differ.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that I have played 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are so many people that are going to come after me. I mean, me trying to just come back for a small stint and then retire again does not make sense. I'm hindering somebody else's growth. I mean, that's how I look at it. So, I mean, end of the day, we have to lead the way and, you know, give the younger once we have decided to, you know, step away, give the younger generations the opportunity. I mean, who knows, you'll get another guy who is better than, you know, Fazil or me, everybody. Like, you never know. I mean, that's the beauty of sport, you know. You never know where the diamond is. You have to, you know, it'll come out of somewhere. You have to just shine it a little bit.
After a very, very exciting career, I'm sure there would have been a lot of people that you need to say a big thank you to. I think this is a fabulous space where you can recognize some of those people who you have received a lot of help and support from during your career.
That list is really long, and I don't think I'll be able to thank everybody, because otherwise this tape will end up being till tomorrow. But I have to thank all my coaches throughout my life that has, you know, helped me become the player I am today. Like I mentioned, Neil Footy and Niranjan Ranasinghe are two people that, you know, really stood out and helped me become the player I am. To all the fantastic players that I have played with, it's been an absolute honor and privilege to share the field with you. Thank you so much for all your support. My family, my mom and dad, who have been the foundation for the person I am. My dad always inspiring me and the person I've always and will be chasing throughout my life. My mom for, you know, motivating me and always reminding me that rugby is just a game and there's more to life than just this oval ball that I have been chasing. My sister, who has, you know, has been an inspiration by herself. I mean, she has, you know, she's a sportswoman herself. Also balanced such a, you know, heavy schedule and always been someone I've looked up to. My wife, who has, you know, been my greatest teammate, you know, and we are about to embark on a new journey, and and thank you for all your support, and I look to be your greatest teammate now and give you the support that you need. To all my family and friends, thank you so much for all the cheers, and no matter win or lose, you all are always there with a smile and, you know, always cheering me up. Thank you so much. Rugby fans, like I said before, you all are the why factor in our playing careers. Without you all, there won't be a reason for us to run around and train so hard and you know, perform at the best of our abilities. So thank you so much for always making sure that I am motivated to perform and make sure that I perform well to make you all happy. So thank you so much for all your support, and thank you, Papare. You know, you all have been a part of my career, I think, from the time I left school, if I'm not mistaken. And thank you for documenting all our games and giving us something that I can show my child in the future. So thank you guys for covering all our games and, you know, giving us also as players something to look forward to and inspiring us on that. So thank you so much for all the support that you have given the game and us players as well. So a huge thank you to you.
Well, Tari, it's been absolutely fabulous, and it's been a joy watching you play, and you've given us rugby fans numerous moments where, irrespective of which jersey that you pulled on, you've given us fans impeccable moments of joy watching you compete.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service to rugby in Sri Lanka, and all the very, very best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, and thanks again for such a. I never thought that, you know, I would have such a big impact, but it's actually thank you so much for all the kind words to everybody who, you know, extended their wishes to me, and thank you to all the rugby fans, to all my family and friends for supporting me throughout this time. Thank you so much for all the endless years of support, and I hope to have your support in my next chapter as well. So, and thanks Sudarshana for having me on the show and, you know, giving me this opportunity to, you know, share a couple of thoughts that I have. I hope it will be useful for the future generations who might be watching this. Thanks again for having me.
Well, it's going to be first of many. We see Tarinda Ratwatte in front of the camera, that I can assure you with. And I think my colleagues at ThePapare are already making their schedules, checking Tarinda Ratwatte's schedules to have him in the box while the club rugby season is going on. Tari, you've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much again.
Thanks again for having me.
They bowled really well here watching in Sri Lanka on ThePapare or Dialogue TV.
Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel, ThePapare.
Elevate your game with ThePapare, Sri Lanka's ultimate sports destination. Together, we unite a nation through the love of sports. Tune in to ThePapare, your home for all things sports. Live the action, feel the excitement.
කෙටි පන්දුවට ඉහළින් හර ස්ථානගත කිරීම.
ThePapare on Dialogue TV.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක 1 ක්‍රීඩා නාලිකාව ThePapare.